My beloved child, there are whole portions that are not entrusted to those who only want to walk. When the sky is clear, the road is smooth, and every answer is already held in their hands. There are treasures of heaven that are given only to those who dare to keep walking while darkness still lies ahead, while their eyes have not yet seen the way out, while the people around them do not understand why they still believe, still wait, still keep their hearts pure. I know the darkness makes you uneasy. I know you once wished that I would light up the entire path before asking you to take a step. But my child, if everything were already clear, then what you were using would no longer be faith, but merely sight. The most precious faith is not born when everything is favorable. It is forged in the most moments when you have nothing to hold on to except my promise. I am not calling you into obscurity in order to abandon you, nor am I leading you through a deep valley to test you with coldness. I am your Father, and every step I invite you to take is held within my care. There are stretches of the road I do not allow you to see far ahead, because I want you to learn how to hold my hand more closely. There are seasons when I give only enough light for one step, because if you saw the entire journey from the beginning, your heart might tremble before the mountains, the turns, and the waiting places. You are not yet strong enough to understand. But as you walk step by step with me, courage will grow within you. You will discover that the darkness cannot swallow the one who is being led by me, and uncertainty cannot overcome a heart that knows how to surrender. You often think commitment must begin with powerful feelings, with a resounding promise, with a bright moment that makes your heart certain it will never waver again. But I look deeper than that. I see commitment in the moment when you still choose to pray, though your heart feels dry. I see it when you still keep what is right, though no one praises you. I see it when you do not return to the old path, even when that path calls to you with sweet familiarity. I see it when you say to me in silence, I do not yet understand, but I still believe that small voice rising from the most honest place within you is the first knock on the door I have prepared to open at the right time. Do not underestimate your choice in days when there is no sign. The world often looks only at the result, when the door has opened, when the blessing has appeared, when the fruit has ripened. But I see the moment you sow seed in dry ground. I see your trembling hand as you still lay something precious before me. I see the nights when you wanted to give up, yet chose to remain one more day. My beloved child, before a great door opens in your life, there is often a small door that must first open within your heart, the door of surrender. When you open that door to me, I will open doors that human strength cannot open, and I will also close doors that my mercy does not want you to walk through. Remember Abraham, the one who heard the call to leave the familiar land without immediately being given a complete map. He did not walk because he had seen everything. He walked because he believed the one who called him was faithful. He had to leave the safety of what was known in order to step into a promise still hidden in the mist. There were nights when he looked up at the sky, filled with stars, and still had not yet seen the promise take shape in his hands. There were years when he had to wait until waiting itself became part of the journey. But it was precisely in that unseen place that his faith was deepened, his attachment to me was refined, and his story became a testimony that I can bring life out of what human beings think is too late. You are the same. I do not require you to know everything before you step forward. I simply invite you to believe that the one who is calling you knows the destination clearly. Perhaps right now you see only a dark space before you, Perhaps the promises I have placed in your heart still have no clear form. Perhaps you are standing in a stage where the old no longer holds you as it once did, but the new has not yet fully appeared. I know that feeling. It is like standing between two shores, unable to go back, yet not fully stepping into the land ahead. But do not fear that in-between place. The middle place is not where you have been forgotten. It is where I teach you to hear my voice more clearly. It is where I remove from you your dependence on outward signs. It is where I cause your heart to no longer need the approval of people, in order to dare to believe what I have spoken in the secret place. The sacred portion I entrust to you is not an ornament for you to display yourself, but a holy responsibility for you to carry with humility. Therefore, before I place something more precious into your hands, I often teach your hands how to release what does not belong to life. Before I expand your influence, I teach you faithfulness in the place no one sees. Before I lead you into a season of clarity, I teach you to stand firm in the season of obscurity. Not because I want to make things hard for you, but because what I entrust to you requires a heart that has been forged by trust. You cannot carry what is holy with a mind ruled by fear. You cannot preserve what is deep if your heart only wants to chase what is easy. Therefore, the darkness of this season is not meant to make you lose your way, but to reveal within you a perseverance you did not even know you possessed. My child, understand this. Faith does not deny the darkness. Faith simply declares that darkness does not have the final word. Faith does not pretend that you are not hurting, not afraid, not confused. Faith brings all of those things before me and says, Father, I still choose you. When you do this, something within you is rebuilt. Trembling no longer rules over you. Questions no longer bind you. Delay no longer makes you conclude that I have forgotten. You begin to walk, not because circumstances have promised to be easy, but because my presence has become your refuge. That is mature faith. It does not need a dazzling light ahead. It only needs to know that my hand is still holding yours. There will be people who do not understand your commitment. They will ask why you still believe when you have not yet seen the result, why you still obey when it costs you, why you still keep your heart upright. When a shortcut seems faster, you do not need to argue with every doubtful gaze. A seed does not need to explain to the soil why it allows itself to be buried. It only needs to remain long enough for the life within it to rise. In the same way, you do not need to prove every step to those who do not hear me calling you. Just remain in what I have shown you. Keep your heart from bitterness. Keep walking in purity. Keep knocking with faithfulness, with prayer, with small acts of obedience each day. The door I open does not always open according to noise, but according to my holy timing. Therefore, my beloved child, do not pull your hand back simply because you have not yet seen the hinge move. Do not stop believing simply because the hallway is still dark. Do not lose the holy portion I have set aside for you, simply because your heart wants a quick sign. I am working in places you cannot see. I am preparing encounters, arrangements, sources of help, healing and harvests you cannot yet imagine. But above all, I am preparing you. When you commit to keep walking, you are not only drawing closer to the door, you are becoming the person who can pass through that door without losing humility, without forgetting the source of grace, without drifting away from me. Walk on, my child, even while the night is still thick, believe. Even though your eyes have not yet seen, place your hand on the door with today's faithfulness, and let me take care of opening it in my way. Why, what I entrust to you is holy, and I do not give it to haste, but to a heart that knows how to remain. You are not alone in this darkness. I go before you like a hidden flame, beside you like gentle warmth, and behind you like a protecting fortress. Every step you take in faith is writing a testimony that one day you will understand. In the very place where you saw nothing, I saw everything. In the very place where you thought there was only night, I laid the foundation for dawn. In the very place where you knocked with commitment, I had already prepared to open a new season full of light, peace, and life. My beloved child, there are decisions that are not made amid shouts of celebration, but are chosen in long nights when your heart still trembles, your eyes cannot yet see the way, and everything around you seems to have no answer. There are acts of obedience that do not shine before the eyes of the world, yet are very precious before me, because they are born in the secret place, among inner struggles known only to me and to you. I do not take lightly the moment you choose to forgive, while the memory still aches. I do not overlook the moment you choose to trust, when the answer has not yet come. I do not forget the times you stand firm in what is right, even when you are misunderstood, even when you must lose what you once held, even when your heart must learn to move forward through tears. My child, these silent decisions are building within you a foundation that storms cannot easily shake. Forgiveness does not mean you deny the pain, nor does it mean you call what is wrong right. I never ask you to pretend that you were never wounded. I have seen where bitterness once took root in your heart. I have seen the memories that return again and again like sharp thorns. I have seen the times you wanted to let go, but were pulled back by the question, how could they do that to me? I understand that, my beloved child. But I also know that if you allow bitterness to remain too long, it will not only imprison the one who hurt you, it will imprison you. Forgiveness is when you hand the right to judge back to me. It is when you stop carrying the scales of justice in hands that have grown weary. It is when you trust that I see more fully than you do, understand more deeply than you do, and can handle all things with justice, unmixed with hatred. Perhaps you will have to forgive the same wound many times, not because your forgiveness is weak, but because some fractures need to be touched layer by layer. Do not blame yourself when you let go in the morning, yet by evening your heart hurts again. Bring that pain back to me once more. Let me untie every strand still wrapped around your heart. Forgiveness is a journey, and I will walk with you in that journey. When you do not have the strength to speak forgiveness from your emotions, begin with surrender. Tell me that you no longer want your heart to become soil for resentment. Let me sow there the seed of peace. Then one day, you will realize that wound no longer controls your voice, no longer shapes the way you love, no longer makes you look at the future through fearful eyes. But my child, forgiveness must go together with trust, because there will be seasons when you release the old yet still do not see the new. That is when your faith is invited to walk without relying on outward signs. I know waiting can make your heart weary. I know you have asked why the door has not opened, why your prayer has not been answered in the way you hoped, why you have obeyed, and yet your circumstances remain silent. But silence is not always absence. There are times when I am working deeper than you can recognize. There are answers that must be prepared not only around you, but also within you. There are things that, if I gave them too early, you would carry in fear. But when I give them at the right time, you will receive them in peace. Remember Abraham, the one who was called to leave what was familiar and walk according to a promise his eyes had not yet fully seen. He was not immediately given the entire map. He did not know every turn, nor was he spared the years of waiting, but every step he took in trust became his response to me. You are the same. There are parts of the road I do not explain fully from the beginning, not because I want to confuse you, but because I am teaching you to know the one who leads the way, rather than merely loving an easy-to-understand path. If you only believe when everything is clear, your heart will be limited by what your eyes can see. But when you trust me in the mist, you are allowing your roots to cling to my faithfulness, rather than to temporary convenience. Obedience, when you cannot see clearly, is one of the deepest beauties of your love for me. When you choose what is right and no one praises you. When you keep yourself pure though you are mocked. When you step out of the place I told you to leave, though your heart still feels reluctant. When you remain silent before provocation, instead of using words to defend yourself in bitterness. I see it all. The world may call you foolish because you do not retaliate. They may think you are weak because you do not fight for position. They may misunderstand your patience as defeat. But I know what you are doing. You are placing your heart under my guidance. You are choosing the narrow road of peace instead of the broad road of immediate reaction. You are allowing obedience to become a quiet weapon against everything that wants to pull you away from the light. There is another story you should keep in your heart. David had the chance to touch Saul, the one who repeatedly sought to harm him. But David did not use that opportunity to avenge himself. He chose to fear me more than to satisfy his own pain. He could have justified that circumstance had delivered his enemy into his hands. But he did not allow his wound to decide his action. Do you see? Not every opportunity that appears is permission from me. There are moments that test your heart, to see whether you will act according to your pain or according to holy reverence. When you choose not to do wrong, even when you have a reason to do it, when you choose to place justice in my hands rather than use your own hands to seize it, you are stepping into a maturity that no throne of this world can give. My beloved child, I know obedience can cost you. Sometimes you lose a relationship because you no longer accept what defiles you. Sometimes you lose approval because you do not follow the crowd. Sometimes you lose an opportunity before your eyes because you refuse to trade away the peace within you. Sometimes you lose the image others were used to seeing in you because you no longer live to please them. But what you lose in obedience never exceeds what I am protecting and preparing for you. Do not fear the empty space after a right decision. Do not fear the loneliness after you step away from what is wrong. Do not fear the voices of gossip when you choose faithfulness. I am in that empty space. I stand beside you in that loneliness. I cover you amid those murmuring voices. So decide once again, today and every day after this, forgive, not because the pain is small, but because I am greater than the pain. Trust, not because you understand everything, but because I have never lost the way. Obey, not because the trial is easy, but because my presence is enough to carry you through every difficult season. If your heart still trembles, bring that trembling to me. If your eyes are still dim, take hold of my hand. If your steps are still slow, keep taking small steps in the light you have. I do not require you to see the whole future before you begin. I simply invite you to believe that I have already been in that future before you. When you live this way, you will gradually realize that the old no longer rules over you. Forgiveness will open the door to peace. Trust will make your heart steady in the unknown. Obedience will keep you within the realm of light, where my voice is clearer than the voice of fear. And even if some people do not understand you, even if there are seasons when you must walk with empty hands, even if there are losses that leave you speechless. I am still forming within you an enduring beauty. You do not need to answer every judgment. You do not need to prove every decision to those who do not walk with you in the secret place. You only need to remain with me, allowing me to lead, to heal, to restore, and to bear witness for you at the right time. Be at peace, my child, for every holy choice made in the darkness is sowing seed for a radiant season ahead. My beloved child, return to the secret place you have forgotten, amid the days when your heart has been stretched by too many voices. There are noises that do not come from outside, but quietly resound within your thoughts. Worries not yet laid down, words others have spoken that still remain, plans not yet fulfilled, fears not yet named. I do not blame you for being tired. I know you have tried to get through each day with everything you have. But today I gently call you to pause, not so that you may give up, but so that you may find again the true source of life. Step away from the restlessness that has scattered your heart. Enter the secret place with me, where there is no need to perform, no need to explain, no need to appear strong. There, you are not only embraced by me in peace, but also covered by holy care that natural eyes do not always see. You often think that only things that are great, resounding, and obvious are signs of guidance. But I want you to learn something deeper. The things that come from heaven are often not noisy. My angels do not always come like thunder shaking the earth. Many times they come as a very gentle reminder within your heart, as a breeze guiding you away from a wrong decision, as silent support when you thought you could not stand any longer. There have been when you suddenly felt encouraged without knowing why. There have been moments when you wanted to give up, but a small ray of hope rose at just the right time. There have been times when you intended to step onto a path, then suddenly sensed within your heart a gentle warning, not violent, but clear. My child, not all of my help appears brilliant before the eyes of the world. Much of the most precious support is placed within you, in silence. Therefore, learn to love quietness. Do not fear a room without human voices. Do not fear the minutes when you sit alone before me. Do not hurry to fill the empty space with sound, images, news, opinions, or conversations that do not truly nourish you. The world constantly calls you to react, to keep up, to prove yourself, to compare, to worry about what lies ahead. But with me, you do not need to run after that hurried rhythm. I do not speak to you through pressure that makes you panic. I do not lead you with strain that leaves you exhausted. My voice often comes like clear water, gentle enough not to frighten you, yet deep enough to wash away the things that make you weary. When your heart becomes still, you will hear more clearly what I have been saying for a long time. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten by name. You do not have to find your way alone. In the dark, remember Elijah, the one who once stood before mighty upheavals and thought that every answer must come through intensity. He passed through weariness, fear, loneliness, and felt as though he no longer had strength to continue the mission he had received. But I did not meet him by making him more afraid. I brought him to a solitary place, nourished him through quiet care, let him rest, let him be restored, and then taught him to recognize my presence in something gentler than all the noise. Do you see? I know when you need a commissioning word, but I also know when you need bread, water, sleep, and a gentle touch. There are times when you do not need more noise. You need silence so that you can be revived. There are times when you do not need someone to analyze your life. You need to sit before me and let me set peace back within you. In that secret place, you will realize that heaven is not as far away as you thought. There are holy ministries sent to those who know how to take refuge in me. But you need a quiet heart in order to recognize them. When your inner being is full of turmoil, you may miss the very gentle reminder of grace. When you let the world speak too loudly, you may no longer be able to distinguish what is guidance from what is confusion. When you live too long in haste, you easily call impatience wisdom, call fear caution, call exhaustion responsibility. But when you return near to me, I will teach you discernment. I will show you what to keep, what to release, what to wait for, and what to step into. I will not let you be swept away by voices that do not come from love. My beloved child, close some of the doors that have been opened into your heart. Not every sound you hear deserves to remain. Not every comment needs to be embraced. Not every piece of news needs to be carried into your sleep. Not every argument requires you to enter it. There are outward things that seem small, but if you receive too much of them, they will make the deep place within you heavy. Guard your peace like a garden I have entrusted to your care. Pull out the voices that sow confusion. Close the entrances that draw you away from purity. Open yourself to me with truth, with humility, with a simple prayer that you need to be guided. I do not require you to speak a perfect prayer. I only want you to come near with a heart that does not pretend. Then, in that nearness, you will be restored piece by piece. Perhaps not every question will be answered immediately, but you will receive the peace not to be controlled by those questions. Perhaps you will not yet see the entire road, but you will have enough light for the next step. Perhaps the outward circumstances have not yet changed, but within you, something will begin to steady itself like a tree watered after a dry season. I will renew the way you see the problem. I will soften the places that have grown tense from anxiety. I will help you realize that silence is not emptiness, but the room where I place wisdom within your heart. There my angels are sent not to take my place, but to serve according to my will, strengthening you on the journey I have ordained. Do not take lightly the small reminders. Sometimes my guidance comes through a pure thought that suddenly appears while you pray. Sometimes I remind you to avoid a word before it causes harm. Sometimes I prompt you to call someone who needs comfort. Sometimes I cause you to pause before a choice that seems attractive but does not lead to life. Sometimes I simply invite you to rest because you have mistaken exhaustion for faithfulness. These things do not always astonish others, but they keep you on the upright path. A life that is led is not recognized only through great turning points, but through each small act of obedience in ordinary days. Therefore, return. Return to the moment where no noise intrudes. Return to the room where you can breathe slowly, weep honestly, speak truthfully, and truly listen. Return to the intimacy that needs no audience. Return to the love that does not force you to prove yourself. I am waiting for you there, not with a stern face, but with the arms of a father. I will wipe the dust of the road from your heart. I will wash away the weariness of the days when you carried too much. I will send support at the right time, in the right way, gentle enough that you will not fear, deep enough that you will not collapse. Let the world grow quiet and let your heart open. In that secret place, you will be reminded of who you are, guided for the road ahead, restored in peace, and led under my tender care. My child, do not be surprised when wherever there is a promise, there is also a conflict. Darkness does not need to attack what does not threaten it. It often seeks to disturb the place where light is being kindled, where a heart is beginning to awaken, where a child of mine is beginning to realize that they were not born to live lost in fear. If you were merely a wanderer without direction, opposition would not need to rise so fiercely. But because I have placed a calling within you, because I am teaching you to stand in position, because the things you build today will become shade for others tomorrow, there are forces that want to drag you back into the old, make you so tired that you let go, make you doubt that all your efforts are useless. But I say to you, they are not useless. No prayer spoken, in truth, is forgotten. No faithful action falls to the ground without me seeing it. No step taken according to the light goes unrecognized by me. Remember Nehemiah, the one who heard that the walls of Jerusalem were broken down and could no longer continue living as though nothing had happened. I placed within him a holy burden, an urging to return and rebuild what had been destroyed. But as soon as the work began, opposition also rose. Some mocked, some threatened. Some spread words to discourage. Some wanted to pull him down from the work through meetings that seemed reasonable. But Nehemiah did not leave his position because of the noise of the opposers. He built and watched, worked and stayed alert, placed his hand to the task while keeping his heart turned toward me. Do you see? Opposition does not prove that the work is not from me. Many times, it proves that the work is touching something important. If I have sent you to rebuild, do not leave the work unfinished, simply because there is mocking beneath the wall. In the same way, what is happening in your life is not merely a series of meaningless confusion. It may be a transition, a season in which I am separating from you what no longer belongs to my light. I am cleansing away connections that drain you, thoughts that make you shrink yourself, habits that pull you away from peace, fears disguised as wisdom, compromises wearing the mask of safety. There are things you once held because they were familiar, but I know they would make your steps heavy on the road ahead. There are voices you allowed to remain too long, but I know they weakened your ability to hear my voice within you. There are doors you once regretted losing, but I know that if you walked through them, you would lose the purity I am restoring. Therefore, when I purify, you may feel empty, but that emptiness is not the final loss. It is the space I am preparing for a new fullness. Do not be afraid when what is not true begins to be revealed. Do not panic when a few relationships, opportunities, or old patterns no longer stand as firmly as before. When my light shines, what is false cannot pretend forever. When I bring you into a season of sending, I must also make your baggage lighter, your eyes clearer, your heart pure, and your steps steadier. I cannot allow you to carry old chains into a new land and call it freedom. I cannot allow you to build what is holy on a foundation of fear, bitterness, or self-doubt. Therefore, this transition may feel uncomfortable, but it is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to free you from everything that distorts the calling I have placed upon your life. I want you to stand firm, but not with cold hardness. Stand firm with gentleness covered by faith. Guard your heart from bitterness, because bitterness clouds the eyes of the one who is sent. Guard your mouth from words of despair, because words can open doors to fear or sow seeds of hope. Keep your hands clean, because what I entrust to you must be lifted by an upright heart. Keep your ear close to me, because in this season of transition, you will need to hear my voice more than ever. Not every noise deserves an answer. Not every provocation requires you to come down from the work. There are battles you win by refusing to leave the position where I have placed you.